Welcome back to Community BattleCast PrimeTime. Doomtanker's here with all your E3 Command & Conquer intel, so strap in and get ready, generals. It's been years since C&C was at E3, and this year they came in force to show off the new game. Even for their conference at E3, EA released the new trailer for the game, showing off, well, the generals. The trailer had portraits for a total of 16 generals, 6 GLA, 5 APA, and 5 for the EU. A total of 6 general cards were released leading up to and during E3. Junkyard, the GLA Salvage General. Beast, APA Urban Combat. Ghost, EU Recon. Red Arrow, APA Rocket. Mercury Red, EU Rapid Assault. And everyone's favorite GLA General, Dr. Thrax is back. Eric Krause also gave us a short video from the E3 Hall, showing off some of the reactions of the attendees who got to check out the game, including Andrew Clowther from GameZone, who actually beat one of the devs in a match. Screw Attack Brian Baker also talked about his time with the new game at E3, especially his experience with the new Onslaught mode. Tara Babcock from Zoomin Games also got an interview with Tim Morton about the new game, and they talked about the troubles of being a free-to-play, GLA radio system, and giving the workers shoes? Yes. I'm serious. IGN also got an interview with GM John Van Knekem talking about the finer details of the game. There's also a lot of news coming out about the new GLA generals, which steer away from being Middle Eastern, possibly that whole racism thing mentioned earlier. Tim commented in a short article on Polygon, "This is actually a pretty big change for the game," he says. "Anyone who knows the series will know the Global Liberation Army, but at the studio, we had a bad reaction from people saying it was pretty offensive to have Middle Eastern characters as militants. The new GLA will feature 5 generals of different backgrounds. Now we'll probably just offend everyone," he laughs. Of course, everyone is asking the question, when does the open beta start? On the official forums, EA Sire has posted some clarification regarding the beta, in particular to those who purchased the Ultimate Collection. Speaking of the official forums, the Command & Conquer website has undergone another redesign. The forums have stabilized a little, but there's still many bugs and rough edges haunting the site. Be sure to check it out if you haven't already seen the main sites, and if you haven't signed up for the beta yet, why not? The closed alpha is currently in progress, but the devs have stated that they want to transition to open beta soon, possibly by the end of the year. Tiberium Alliance has been somewhat overlooked in recent times as Command & Conquer has had the limelight, but the TA team has been working hard with the 1-year anniversary contest that just recently ended, and the June patch will be rolling out in certain worlds. The overview mentions the player level cap is now being set to 65, and outposts will spawn up to level 50. For the full patch notes, you can check out the link in the description below. Here's a little bit of interesting C&C community news. Black Wolf on C&C&Z has been doing a daily C&C trivia, doing stuff like the hidden image of Cabal and Kane's mask on the C&C3 Kane's Wrath cover, to comparing the Exo power suit versus the actual Wolverine we've got in Tiberian Sun, to other hidden little things like the changes to the Red Alert 2 covers between 2000 and 2001. That'll have to do it for the official news. We unfortunately had to skip some stuff because with the sheer volume of news that we got, this show would run on forever. And now it's time for the mod spotlight. I got another batch of mods for you guys, so let's dive in. We're kicking off this mod spotlight with Tiberian Sun Reborn, which released at the end of May, as you are probably aware. This standalone game aims at bringing the Renegade-style multiplayer action to the Tiberian Sun time, featuring all your favorite units from GDI and Nod, including Titans, Cyborg Reapers, the Mammoth Mark II, and Nod Banshees. Several patches have been issued since launch, fixing bugs and smoothing out some of the gameplay. Generals Evolution is a mod in development for RA3, bringing all your favorite generals to the Sage 2 engine, and looking pretty glorious so far from the screens they have. Lots of new effects and a lot of pretty nice shiny polish, while keeping all of the favorite units that you know and love. Deep Impact, formerly European Conflict, is a mod for 0 Hour taking place 30 years after that game, and an asteroid impact on the Earth. Featuring 4 factions, the American Confederacy, the Western European Alliance, the Asian Democratic Federation, and the World Liberation Front. This game looks pretty good, and it obviously has a good sense of humor about itself with the gameplay teaser they have for it. Why not a nice water warfare mod? Generals Titled War is a mod in development that seeks to bring naval combat to generals. It's looking pretty good so far. Can't wait to see how this one turns out. Rise of the Reds is showing off a couple new units for the USA. The Guardian drone, which seems to function like a Nod tank, and the Hunter Killer drone. Should be interesting to see how they work in game. This is still a great mod, and it just keeps getting better. Now, let's get a little silly here. Crazy mod for 0 Hour is just that. Realism? That got thrown out of the window from the space shuttle. When you've got units like the Demo Duster, the Sworded tank, the Lead Beam, the toilet paper cannon, and, oh jeez, the microwave tank. Get it? But seriously though, this is a fun mod if you just want to have a crazy, off-the-wall, fun game. So it's definitely worth a try.
Welcome to the BattleCast Best of 5. I'm Sybert, your host. This is a Best of 5 series between Yui and Eminence in Red Alert 3. This series is part of the May Ladder Wars from GameReplays.org. Don't worry, there will be other C&C games in the next episode. Game 1 is on Infinity Isle, and Yui is your allied representative, and Eminence is your empire. Sorry, Soviet fans. Eminence heads to the middle, throwing down a mecha bay and keeping Yui's peacekeepers at bay with walls while he establishes a third. Yui is going for an airfield and uses a prospector to expand to the center ridge while also expanding to the water. It's a risky move, but will his air force be enough to make it worth it? We'll see. Eminence gets eyes on the MCV and deploys the naval yard as a preventative measure. But Yui deploys his refinery on the ridge and then moves his MCV, leaving the water empty. Eminence has already built 2 yaris before he realizes the water is empty and he has to sell his naval yard. Oh, the mind games! Yui starts pushing the middle and destroying walls, accidentally splashing down one of his own tanks, but Eminence goes for a somewhat successful counterattack. Eminence's constant walls allow Yui to bring his MCV up to the front line and deploy multiple multi-gunner turrets. Eminence gathers his forces and attacks, but while he has great crushes, Yui's tanks and defenses are too strong. Yui even throws down a barracks and takes Eminence's oil derrick just for fun. Eminence's third refinery goes down, and since he has no fourth, he simply cannot match Yui. Yui takes map number 1 in a tremendous victory. Game 2 takes us to Cabana Republic, and we've got the same matchup, no random for either of these players. Once again, Allies versus Empire. Eminence starts off game number 2 with 1 dojo, followed up by 3 refineries, which is spotted by Yui's scout. Yui is going for a more aggressive dual racks peacekeeper spam, followed by a Riptide Javelin strike, capturing Eminence's oil derrick once again. Eminence's third is sold off, Yui expands to the water, but Eminence crash lands Yui's air force. A proxy airfield is upset by Eminence's Yari, and Yui loses more aircraft to Eminence's attacking VXs. Yui is scrambling to stay alive, but the airfield goes down and Yui leaves the game. Which brings us to Snowplow, and Yui is in the north versus Eminence in the south of this frozen wasteland. Early infantry kills and oil derricks put Eminence in a very slight lead, as Yui drops an aquatic airfield, following it up with a turret push and an additional proxy airfield. Eminence runs his MCV, entering low power mode, which slows his already limited production as bombing runs, turrets, and engineer caps ruin Eminence's base. Eminence pushes out with a mass infantry strike, and Yui forgets that he has extra peacekeepers. Eminence busts up Yui, forcing Yui back onto the water. Yui tries to rebuild, but is being chased by Eminence's infantry. Eminence forces Yui to sell off his old main base, but Eminence just can't quite stabilize his own economy. Yui takes water expansions, and Eminence unfortunately misplaces his refinery, allowing Yui to freeze down Eminence and take game number 3. Temple Prime is the location of Game 4, with Yui leading by 1 map against mates Eminence. Both players start with lots of infantry and trade oil derricks a time or 2. Eminence transitions to Tengus as Yui sets up a third on the ridge, but Yui falters and loses aircraft to Eminence while Eminence drops onto harvesters. Too many Tengus are dominating the air, and Yui's economy is shot, so there's no turrets to hold off the aggression from Eminence. In just 4 minutes, Eminence even the scores and takes us to the Ace Match, which is on Fire Island. Eminence is in the south against Yui in the north. An early oil derrick lead is taken by Eminence, and Yui goes for a quick 4th refinery before War Factory. Eminence goes for 3 ref Tengu mass and knocks down Yui's forces and then harasses some harvesters. Tier 2 Mecha Bay and a 4th refinery are bought by Eminence as he uses Yui's lack of a ground army to constantly harass with minimal losses. Yui defends well and he manages to score some kills, but a 5th refinery is built and Eminence can afford to lose some units, especially while sinking a refinery to Davy Jones. Yui takes a 5th refinery of his own and starts to hold Eminence back, scoring kills against the Mecha army. It's not enough to hold the southern base, and Yui loses his expansion. Eminence pushes on and harasses multiple locations with infantry and agile Tengus while expanding to a 6th refinery. Yui techs up to Tier 3 and gets Athena cannons, allowing him to engage extremely efficiently against Eminence's greater numbers. Constant refinery deaths caused by Eminence are too much, and Eminence's final dual mecha, dual racks army breaks through Yui's base, closing this epic series out 3-2. Eminence advances to the final, and that's your 5 for this episode.
And now it's time for community fan art. Got another batch of nice, regular fan art for you guys. I don't need an incident like last time. Here we have a lone soldier walking through a Tiberium wasteland by Crimson Nemesis. Redemption is yours. And this awesome wallpaper by Kane Nash. It's awesome sometimes to find on DeviantArt artists that actually worked on the games. Here's some concept art from HK887 sharing some of his work from Tib Wars. How about some Advanced Wars, 0 Hour? This awesome stylized piece comes from Carrion Trooper. Oh, I'd play this. Uh-oh. Should have brought some dolphins to help you out there, Tanya. This awesome line art comes from I Am Thomas. Here we have an amazing Allied base render by Rick BK. Next we have another amazing piece of what's called The Last Blue Zone by Frank Hong. Next up is actually a fan creation that was shared on the Command & Conquer Facebook page. We don't have a creator for this, but this is still a pretty cool handcrafted Tesla coil we've got going on here. And of course, if you haven't already been keeping up with Nimith in the great series Cartoon & Conquer, you really do need to check it out. The latest comic proves that Nod may be crazy terrorists, but they're also humans and enjoy the simple things in life like cookies and frustrating your coworkers. And that wraps up another episode of Community BattleCast PrimeTime. As always, if you guys have news, mods, or fan art you want to share with the community, feel free to reach nodsoldiergirl at an email, nodsoldiergirl@hotmail.com, and we'll see you guys on the battlefield.